How many times have you heard, if they want to, they would? Well, it sounds simple, right? But is it always true? That popular saying of, if they wanted to, they would, can really sometimes feel like this big mic drop, right? And you're like, oh, yeah, if they really loved me, they'd do this. Well, but real life and real relationships are a lot messier and a lot more complicated than just that statement. And it's probably important that we unpack whether this belief actually brings clarity or if sometimes it's basically just trapping us in confusion. How can investigating this concept and also communication and relationship make you better? I'm Sage, I'm a growth coach, and the topic today is, if they wanted to, they would. Truth or trap? So let's see what we need to investigate about this. First off, when we start to oversimplify a belief, it can really keep us stuck in pain. And it's almost like we say this comment to hurt our heart a little bit more, I guess. And remember, not all inaction means lack of care. Listen to me when I say this. Sometimes it actually stems from lack of capacity or fear or some kind of extenuating circumstance or all of the above. Okay? So I want to just take a second on that first word, capacity. We all grew up with different lives, with different childhoods, with different social skills, with different communication skills, with all of those different things. And, it really doesn't matter if you've been with somebody for 10 days, 10 weeks, 10 months, or 10 years. Just because you keep saying something or keep asking for something doesn't mean that that person's old conditioning from when they were a child on how things were done in their house just gets completely wiped out. Some of that is like kind of tunneled deep in their system, and we often default to what we knew growing up. Okay, and then finally, clarity comes from really deeper communication and not assumptions. Okay. So here's a couple quotes that go with this topic. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and express what you really want. Don Miguel Ruiz. And clarity is kindness. Brene Brown. So are you assuming the meaning behind somebody's actions or lack of them? And very importantly, have you communicated your needs directly? And then I might also add directly without a bunch of toxic emotion attached to it. Well, I got you. We're working on some relationships today. So I've got 3 tips for better communicating your needs so you don't have to trap yourself with, limiting statements. First off, number 1, how about we swap assumptions for conversation? Instead, why don't we ask instead of guessing? Now, the tough thing is usually if we if we are inspired enough to bring a good conversation, it's probably about 10 days or 10 times past where your limit was. And so then we bring up the conversation and then it's, just full of emotion, whether that your default is, now you're crying your face off, or you're screaming and yelling, or you're pointing the finger and accusing. And, if you muddy up the waters with how you communicate with a bunch of toxic emotion, then that's not really communicating. The person's just going to throw up a defense wall. So don't let it dig in deep and bother you for 10 years before you actually say something. All right, number 2, notice patterns, not isolated moments. Okay, consistency is really going to reveal the truth to you of how that person cares for you. Number 3, remember, you deserve relationships built on effort and honesty. Okay, so just starting to make it a habit where you sit down and you actually have these conversations, here and there, before things get out of hand is really beneficial. So whether you just make it a kind of a family thing, like Thursday night meetings or whatever. So circling back, if they wanted to, they would, isn't really the whole story. The real truth is found in patterns, communication, and your willingness to honor what you need instead of stifling it down. So here's your intention today. I honor my worth by seeking clarity, not assumptions. So if you're ready to cut through this noise and build some better relationships that can actually serve you, then I've got a bunch of good videos on this topic on my YouTube channel that you can watch for free. I also have some, wonderful sessions and tools in my Sage's Growth Sanctuary on my website, growingsagejourney.com, or book a session. And I'll be right there with you, helping you out. All right, thanks for growing with me today. Love ya.